Hello, greetings everybody, my name is James, I'm from the internet. Today we're going to be talking about charitable giving. Now, in recent months, we've covered a number of stories headlining just how bad it is out there and how there are more people in the United States of America right now in need than perhaps at any time in the history of the country. Between the pandemic, the economic downturn, the government shutdowns, business closures, there just isn't enough work, enough money, and enough revenue to go around, and people are falling through the cracks. Government has not been able to fix the issue by itself. Corporations have not been able to fix the issue by themselves. Working together, they're slowly chipping away at it, but frankly, it's not nearly fast enough or not nearly total enough to take care of what needs to be taken care of. And this is where charitable giving and local charities step in to fill the void. Now, more often than not, in the world of philanthropy or charitable giving, the larger issue is usually matching up the money with the need with the people who actually get the work done. And for the overwhelming amount of wealthy people who donate money to a charity or cause simply because they have to donate X number of dollars to get their maximum tax deduction for the year, it's normally just scribbling a check to some random large NGO or charity, or maybe where they went to college 80 years ago and they're going to write them a check so they can build a 19th tennis court, yet somehow this is a tax deductible charitable thing. I don't really understand the ins and outs of the full taxation system, but what I do know is that there is an enormous difference between people who play philanthropist and people who do the work to get money and resources to the people who are most in need. So today, I want to take a look at a tale of two different charitable donors and how they are trying to help. Mackenzie Scott's remarkable giveaway is transforming the Bezos fortune. As Mackenzie and Jeff Bezos, the couple's donations were mostly unremarkable. Then came a divorce and her $6 billion gift, a true feat which upstaged her ex-husband, who has pledged big numbers, but has been slower to spend. Now, before we go any further, yes, I am aware of the fact that the Bezoses built their entire enormous fortune off the backs of the working poor and a constant, never-ending supply of billions of dollars in government subsidies. And yes, I am aware of the fact that these two people did not work 138,000 times harder than everybody else, and that's why they have all that money. Yes, I am also aware of the fact that taxation rates are absolutely horrible, and that they're only paying 11% on their quote wealth, while only paying taxes on their income, which is zero. I get all that, and these are all valid conversations to have. However, for the purposes of this conversation, I just want to focus on the difference between people playing philanthropists and people who are actually doing the hard work to get resources to people in need. Jeff Bezos' decision on February 2nd to step down as chief executive officer of Amazon.com could shake loose a lot of money. The second richest person in the world, he's worth almost $200 billion, says he plans to spend more of his time on philanthropy. If he does so, he'll be following the model of John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, and Bill Gates, all of whom got serious about their giving only after they stepped back from their businesses. Oh, no, don't worry, I'm not going to let that one slide. I promise we'll get back to Bill Gates, but let me continue. Bezos has been a billionaire since the late 1990s, and people have been asking for almost as long how he'd give some of that wealth away. Quote, long term, I have a responsibility to be a philanthropist, he said on the Charlie Rose Show back in 2000. His first public gift wasn't until 2011, at which point he opened a trickle of philanthropy from what was starting to look like a bottomless fortune. Technically, it's not bottomless, it's just a question of how much wealth you can extract from everybody and the government until there's no wealth left to extract. Now about 7.2 billion of the Amazon fortune has been given away, but the largest chunk has come from Bezos' ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott. Since their divorce in 2019, she's become one of the most consequential philanthropists of her generation. Scott, who now controls 1/4 of the former couple's combined wealth of more than $250 billion, gave away almost $6 billion last year to working charities, organizations that do good on a daily basis, rather than just steward philanthropic money. Again, there is a very, very important distinction between people who donate the minimum amount that they have to every year for their maximum charitable contribution for their taxes, and they just take that money and they put it into like a philanthropic hedge fund. And some master philanthropist just gives it away to other wealthy people's wealthy charities, and it's a whole cottage industry based on wealthy people giving money to other wealthy people, and the fun toys that they all collect and share an affinity for. That's probably a record annual distribution for a living person, says Melissa Berman of the Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors. As notable as the size of that pile was where it went, to small charities and institutions, such as historically black colleges that are often passed over by big givers. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos made a commitment in 2020 to give away $10 billion to fight climate change. There's no particular deadline for spending that money, but in November he announced the first $791 million worth of grants to outside organizations. Over his lifetime, he's distributed about $1.4 billion, including about $200 million donated as a couple with Scott. Bezos has indicated that he wants to give the money away thoughtfully to maximize the impact. Though one could argue, and many do, that the problems his billions can help to address leave no time to waste. And one of the many large problems that you get with the uber wealthy is that they have so much money that they literally play God. They're like, oh look, I've extracted all of this wealth from billions of people, and now there are billions of people who are poor. I know, I will give some of my billions away. And be who is most deserving to have a shilling from my fortune? And then they sit around and they dig and dither until they die, and all their money just ends up going into an estate. Why? Because they're more interested in playing benevolent philanthropist than they are actually giving their money away. Remember, these are people who spent their entire life hoarding as much money as possible. Bezos and Scott's split shows how the personalities and priorities of the very rich affect how charities work and that's all. Complicating it all is the source of their wealth. Amazon's labor and environmental record has been harshly criticized by some of the same activists that Bezos and Scott have funded. Meanwhile, their wealth is compounding even faster than they're giving it away. Last year, the combined Bezos and Scott fortune held virtually Amazon stock grew by $97 billion as the world reeled from the coronavirus pandemic and lockdowns threw millions out of work. And here is where we cycle back to Bill Gates. I'm just going to point out that Bill Gates proudly announced that he is just going to retire. All he's going to do is he's going to work to give away 80% of his personal fortune. And that's all he's doing now. 365 days a year working on philanthropy. Guess what? He's fucking giving the money away in such little amounts and so slowly that his money is making money faster than his money can give money away. That's how you know you've amassed too much money. Here's a look at how Bezos and Scott have approached their philanthropy as they've gone from mere billionaires to owners of one of history's great fortunes. Climate change is the biggest threat to our planet, Bezos says in an Instagram post, promising $10 billion to start what he's calling the Bezos Earth Fund. Without elaborating on details, he says he'll fund scientists, activists, and non-government organizations. At the time of the announcement, none of the money had been put to work yet. That's right, Jeff Bezos is so interested in saving Earth, he made a charity and called it the Bezos Earth Fund. Why? Because calling it the Earth Fund would have given too much consideration to Earth and not as much attention to Bezos. Compared with other environmental picks, Bezos' commitment is huge. The climate news foundation estimates that less than 2% of the global goes to climate-related causes. Nonetheless, curiosity, all those great benefits and stuff, do you get those if Amazon purposely works you 32 hours a week or less so that you're not a full-time employee? Yeah, holler at me, let me know. If Bezos' goal is to end climate change, he probably could. The question is, with an undertaking such as that, how much time, how much effort does he really want to put behind his giving? So far, he's really trusted established organizations to carry out that work for him, so he's not offering a new idea or a new solution. No, the only thing new about rich old white dude donating money to large organization is that he passed it through a charity that he named after himself rather than naming it after some other old rich white dude. Now, while Jeff Bezos was publicly wanking it to his own benevolence, in which he announces he's going to give away money but doesn't actually do shit, his ex-wife, she announced that over the last several months, she's given away a total of $1.7 billion to 116 different organizations with a wide range of focus areas from racial equality to LGBTQ rights. Scott initially intended to keep her giving private, according to two people whose organizations received gifts. Quote, I was completely prohibited from telling anybody who the donor was, says Eliza Byard, executive director of GLSAN, an organization that supports LGBTQ students. Quote, I wasn't even in a position to tell my board who this person was. Why? Because she wasn't grandstanding. She was legitimately trying to just give money away to marginalized people in need. According to her blog post on Medium, Scott decided to share what work she'd been doing, in part as a response to the events of the first half of 2020, and then reference to both COVID and police violence against black people that inspired nationwide protests. Quote, my own reflection after recent events revealed a dividend of privilege I've been overlooking. The attention I can call to organizations and leaders driving change, she wrote. Collectively, experts are impressed, noting that the cash she sent out directly to charities rather than sitting in a foundation. The money hit the streets. Scott also seems to have absorbed a common critique of the about some few wealthy white donors, telling the rest of the world what to do and taking their time to decide. Now trust people who are on the right as works as Edward Villanueva, founder of the Decolonizing Wealth Project, whose local firm tries to standardize people often say it's hard to give billions of dollars, and Scott's donation weakens the case that giving away billions of dollars is difficult. She showed it can be done. Gifts are unrestricted. That says we trust in the leadership of the organization, and we believe in your programs and know that you will use the support to continue fulfilling your mission. Just 3 months later, Scott announced that she had given away another $4.2 billion, setting an unprecedented pace for giving. On Medium, Scott said she asked her team to figure out how to give away her money faster, something that people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and apparently Jeff Bezos still haven't figured out. But Mackenzie Scott, a handful of friends that she picked, somehow found a way to make the impossible possible. It's both of those announcements by his ex-wife. Bezos has announced that he's stepping down and he's going to spend more time trying to figure out how to maybe give away some of his ludicrously, overwhelmingly vast fortune. Literally all of which is collected off the backs of working class and poor people, mixed in with 2 decades of billions of dollars of government subsidies. Now, of course, there is a much larger question to be answered here, which is how the hell do we fix a horrible system that allows 2 people to accumulate nearly half the wealth in an entire country to the point where their career has to be finding inventive ways to somehow give away all their money before they die because the system is built in such a way that their money makes more money than they can literally throw out the window of a moving vehicle while driving at 100 miles an hour. Now, I don't know if we're ever going to have that conversation or if this problem is ever going to get fixed. What Mackenzie Scott is doing currently in the pace at which she's doing it is going to at least start to make a dent. Hopefully, other people who have accumulated ludicrous amounts of wealth off the backs of other people will somehow see this as an example and rise up and join her rather than
after I have a big argument with Destiny, him and his community latch, and this is my perception, him and his community latch on to one or two very specific misinterpretations of the things that I said, and they need it into oblivion. The last time they did it with the submitting to the mob take, which unfortunately repeated engagements with Destiny's community has led me to believe they still don't know what I was saying. And I don't know why, because I think I made it clear, but yeah. The meme that came out of this one was that Vosh is okay with lying if it suits his political agenda. That's the thing. There's like a half dozen subreddit posts in his community saying exactly that, which is interesting for a couple of reasons that I'm about to get to. Normally, I don't think it's worthwhile to address stuff like this because I find that most of the communities that dislike me online are uncharitable, which means that even if you present them information that I think like reasonably leads to a given point, they don't accept it because they don't like it. Or at least that's a kind of uncharitability. This is the way I feel about tankies and woke schools and, you know, I haven't put much effort into clearing up the shit Nazis believe about me either. Do you think they believe me? I gave them a rational explanation for any of the crazy shit they say about me? No. And unfortunately, I'm getting the, maybe not the exact same, but a comparable type of uncharitability from some elements of Destiny's community. So I want to address it, right? So, with regards to the accusation, there are like half a dozen Reddit threads, there are people in Twitter threads memeing about this, saying that I'm okay with lying if it suits my political agenda. One of those threads I actually posted on Twitter. The title of it was something like, Vosh is as dangerous as Trump, or no, it was like, Vosh's approach to information is as dangerous as Trump. I'll find the exact title, because if I misremember it, they'll accuse me of lying. Here it is. I don't think people realize how dangerous Vosh's position really is. It's comparable to the dangers of Trump. And because this is a supremely funny title, I posted it to Twitter, and funnily enough, they actually said that me posting the title of this Reddit post was misinformation because I didn't also post the content of the post, which, if you take it to its logical conclusion, means that anytime you post the title of something without including the entirety of its contents, you are lying. In fact, I think if you go to this post now, the majority of the comments are about saying that I proved his point. Very Trumpy of me to post a screenshot of the title, which I guess means anytime you post that title of Tucker Carlson's conversation with Ian Miles Chung, where it says like "Gamer Man Afraid of Women," or that Styx Hexenhammer title, "Why Feminism is Why I Can't Date Women Part 2 out of 17" or something, that's actually misinformation. Anytime you ever show any piece of information without showing every and all qualifying and characterizing piece of information associated with it, I get annoyed by stuff like this because when you're dealing with an uncharitable community, it really doesn't matter how you handle things because misinformation exists on a spectrum. If you really want to, I mean really want to, you can accuse every human being on earth of engaging in misinformation to some extent. The easiest way to do it is accuse them of flatly pumping which includes people in an identity society. And then there are sort of not half-truths, but you're only providing enough information to imply X or Y. And if you lean in on it hard enough, everybody engages in misbehavior to some extent. CGP is a really great YouTuber. CGP Greg, they did all the videos. There are sub-elements of CGP's great. sincere while pushing nothing but truthful information. So and I clarified that, I think, in that context. If you're a grifter, like, you can push nothing but truthful information, but internally, you can think like, also bad ethics. Yeah, there is grifting on every side of the political aisle. If you think about, say, for example, Kansas, all of the she's good there. But that's not the same as thinking it's okay to lie for political gain. Those are two completely separate claims. You can criticize me for my ambivalence towards grifting. You can, that's fine, but that isn't the same claim as I'm okay with lying to suit a political agenda. Now, as I said, right now, there are a bunch of threads on Destiny subreddit saying that I'm okay with lying, which again, I don't think is a charitable read. But I'm going to explain my position on this in its totality, okay? So I just said, I don't think that lying for political gain is anybody who's this is the and then run with that. They're like, actually, everything that Vosh has said before and everything that he will say after, those are all lies. This one instance, this one interpretation, this right here, that's actually if you let it slip. You hold people to that standard, you can get anybody on anything. Anybody on anything. Here's my position. Here's the position that was being misinterpreted. I want to see if you guys agree with it. Okay? Misinformation exists in a spectrum. The farther towards truth you go, the more subjective the qualification for misinformation gets. Sometimes misinformation is really obvious, like an open lie. Pretty much every conservative channel engages in flagrant and open and completely objective misinformation. And most people sometimes do as well, including me and including Destiny. It's not good, but it's a thing that happens. But even the most rigorous channels, especially from live streamers who don't have the opportunity of editing everything they say, will engage in misinformation to some extent. Sometimes it's lying, sometimes it's posting a half-truth, sometimes it's uncharitable representation of another person's position. I could accuse Destiny of that movie. That's the feeling that I get. I think all of those fall under the blanket umbrella misinformation. And my argument is that because everybody engages in it to some extent or another, I mean everyone. I'm sure, by the way, that if I was an astronomer or a biologist or an astrophysicist, I would be able to find misinformation on in a Kurzgesagt video. You know Kurzgesagt, the really cute animated videos about science and tech and stuff like that. If I was educated, and I'm not, by the way, those aren't any of my fields. If I was, I could probably find a few points of misinformation. Everything, you know? Fuck, man. Even academic studies have replication errors and methodology problems that I was trained in my classes to learn how to analyze. If you get right down to it, even the most big, like the most basic factual bedrock of the types of arguments that we make, even those can be susceptible to misinformation. So, yeah, all information is infinitely complex. There's no such thing as perfect knowledge. True. And even more importantly, charitability and fair interpretation are also something you have to look out for. Because as a public figure, what matters isn't just what you you say, it's how people interpret it. So even if you say everything truthful and you say nothing but the truth and you don't leave out anything, the tone with which you say truthful things can still convey misinformation to the audience. This is absolutely a fact. Nobody in linguistics would disagree. So, well, they might not like the term misinformation, which I'm using in a very blanket way, but yeah, we're not calculators. There's just more nuance to language. There's too much for us to be perfect in all respects. So, okay, 1350 is a good example. The 1350 phrase is technically correct. Well, the numbers aren't exactly that. It's technically correct, but it's used in wildly dishonest ways all the time. And you guys know that because I've talked about that. So, what do I think should be done? This is my position. As a utilitarian, I think that you should respond to misinformation in a way which is proportionate to the amount and severity of that misinformation. That's my position. Which is why, in that debate, I said, who cares? With response to the 500,000 like tweet saying Breonna Taylor died in her bed. Because that's an example of a piece of misinformation, which is, I'm going to guess, not malicious. I doubt the person tweeting that actually knew she died in the hallway and then said in the bed. I imagine, like most people, that she just has a simplified and uninformed version of the series of events in her head. And so do the people who liked it. I don't think it's like some malicious thing. Not only was it not malicious, I imagine, but it also was fairly trivial compared to the truth of the matter. She dies here, she dies there. We're not misrepresenting some critical element like she drew a gun and fired at the cops in the door frame, or she charged them or something like that. We're not like, it is misinformation, but I would consider it relatively trivial compared to, say, conservative channels. Now, my concern here is that selectively choosing who to go after for misinformation and doing so in a way which is disproportionate can actually be a form of misinformation in and of itself. Destiny himself said this about Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Julian Assange released a bunch of negative information about the DNC, and Destiny pointed out correctly that while transparency is good, selective transparency that only reveals information on one of the two major political parties while leaving the other one untouched, that's not transparency. That's misinformation. Because you're giving the people who get that information the impression that only the DNC has dirt on it and that the RNC doesn't have anything within it worth looking at. I think Julian Assange said something like, they're so dumb, everyone can see what's wrong with them. But he criticized Julian Assange for that. Yeah, it's a lie by omission in a respect. It's a bias that incurs a certain set of outcomes. Destiny knows this. So, since Destiny knows this, I think it would logically follow that one is of the opinion that selectively targeting certain groups or certain individuals for misinformation in a way which is disproportionate might itself convey misinformation, which is why I'm so critical of Destiny for certain level of misinformation on the left and the right. That is an insane position. I want to be perfectly clear about this. That's a delusional position. When Destiny says the amount of misinformation on the left or even comparable, that is misinformation. That is I don't know if he's deliberately wrong, but that is wrong. But in the pursuit of that belief, he seems more interested in attacking or impugning. Booksmart's got Destiny to walk that back yesterday. Okay, that's nice. I'm happy to hear that because that is an absolutely ridiculous position. So since if he's walked that back, then I won't impugn that. I still think that was a ridiculous thing to ever say at any point. By any standard, by any metric, you can objectively disprove that. Any conservative channel versus even Ben Shapiro was one of the more level-headed conservative channels. Even that is just relentless misinformation. I think you should respond to misinformation in a way which is proportional to the severity of the misinformation. So since everybody engages in misinformation to some extent, if I think the misinformation is relatively trivial, relatively insubstantial, and relatively harmless, I won't go as hard against it as information or misinformation which I find to be incredibly harmful or incredibly destructive. Like COVID denialism, for example, which is a staple of this conservative channels. to convey an inaccurate picture of the political landscape in America, selective and disproportionate response to misinformation also contributes to an inaccurate understanding of the online political landscape. Like calling Big Joel a subhuman, degenerate piece of shit for talking about the debate that he had with Destiny on Twitter afterwards. He claimed that Big Joel misrepresented his position, and for the life of me, when I looked at that Twitter thread, it seemed like it was accurate, because Destiny did say that you could kill a person for trying to steal their sandwich. They were saying that Philosophy Tube is a liar whose channel should be deleted. If that's a position you hold about Philosophy Tube, I would think that Destiny probably engages in more misinformation than Philosophy Tube. Or I should say, since that's a little bit inaccurate, I would say not more disinformation, because that's difficult to quantify. I would say the consequences of the misinformation from Destiny can be far worse, because I didn't see anything from Philosophy Tube as stupid as the online left and the online right are equally dishonest. I didn't see it. I haven't seen anything from Abigail that comes in that ballpark. But if he walked that